I am feeling anxious, but I think it will be okay because I have a safe at home and I'll be returning from my business trip soon. However, I am devastated the moment home. Unbelievably, the safe has been opened and everything inside has disappeared. I know who did this. I call my husband immediately.
You opened the safe, didn't you?
George doesn't even seem to be sorry, responds,
Why do you have a safe? Don't treat us like thieves.
as punishment. We're taking your expensive bag and other things too.
You've got to be kidding me. What you're doing is stealing.
I figure we can't get this sorted out over the phone. So I head to his parents' house. My name is Karen, and I'm a 32-year-old office worker. I married my husband, George, 3 years. We rent an apartment and live there with just the two of us. We don't have any children yet, which is why we are enjoying our time as husband and wife. But there are several people who give me a headache. George's family. His parents' house is only a 10-minute ride away from our home, so they often come to our house without any notification. To his credit, I want to say that George's father was very kind and has sense, and he would never come to our house, let alone tell us. The one who comes suddenly is his mother, Sandra. George's dad would always tell her this, but he sadly passed away a year ago due to illness. Since then, it seems Sandra has been free from all bonds, and she comes to our house far too often.
Karen, make me some tea, please.
She's there on our sofa, ordering me, as if she has a right to be there. I am tired from work every day. Why do I have to take care of my mother-in-law in addition to this? And recently, George's older sister, who just got a divorce, also comes.
I want some latte.
Sandra and Alice selfishly made their requests. The biggest problem, though, that George accepts his own selfishness does nothing to help me. George is 29 years old and is 3 younger than me. His sister, Alice, is 35, so they are apart. That is why both Sandra and Alice both adore and have been spoiling my husband. As his mother and sister were so low-kind to him, he also took good care of them. This sounds wonderful on its own, but as both Sandra and Alice are monsters, having them as a priority is a big problem for me. George believes that if his mother and sister are happy, that's all that matters. That is why I am always put in tight.
I'm sorry, Alice. We don't have any latte at the moment.
What? Why not? You should keep some all the time.
I think it's rare for a household to have latte in stock.
What's wrong, sis?
George, you won't believe it. Karen's saying she doesn't have any.
If you don't have any, you know what you should be doing, right?
With these words from his mother, George widens his eyes and glares at me.
Hey, Karen, go and buy some right stuff.
What? I'm in the middle of cooking.
Alice is saying she wants latte. Make that the priority.
Karen, what about my tea?
You really can't do anything, can you?
As George is always on his mother or sister's side, it's always 3 on none, and I never had anyone to back me up. I always have to stick up to their requests. The biggest problem I have with Alice, that's because they want to take my things from me. When Sandra comes over, she would, to take something home. At first, it was just things like Svi had received at work, or slightly expensive tea that my mom sent me. Most things were consumable, so even if I did think it was a bit of nuisance, I said to myself, no problem, as it just felt like I was sharing things with them. And if I had said no to them, I knew George would complain. However, their requests got worse, and they would ask for clothes to wear, for a bike that I haven't used in years. Slowly changing from consuming things to using them. If I say, well, I can still sell this, I can't use it. And try to refuse, they would say.
It won't amount to much, even if you. Wouldn't it be better for you? Do you want to give it away to someone who wants it?
They would forcefully try to take my. If Sandra says that, then of course George will back her up and say,
Mom is saying she wants it, so give her.
Stop ordering me around. Thanks to this, our house has become minimalist's home without meaning to. Just a few days ago, Sandra said,
This house always looks so bare and.
which really got on my nerves was that he never seemed to listen to me. Whose fault do you think that is? When I would sometimes go to there, I would see stuff from my house even though it was a mile away, giving me the strange impression that somehow I had returned home. And then something unbelievable, hey, I am home from work and I see a war in the entrance. Is George cheating on me? And at this time, so boldly, I crashed into the living room angrily and saw Sandra there.
Sandra, what are you doing here?
She is sneakily opening the cupboard.
Oh, the dishes were about to fall.
Did you touch my cupboard and open?
I ask her, and she is panicking, say,
What are you talking about?
raising her voice, she said, I'm not going to let you do this.
There was an earthquake and the building was about to fall.
She's definitely lying. This cupboard is strong and stable, so a small earthquake wouldn't affect it. If the earthquake was so big as to cupboard shake, I would have received an alert on that. I have.
I think I'll leave now.
As Sandra tries to get up, I tell her,
No. Since you're here, why don't you some tea?
and get her to sit down again. She looks nervous while drinking her. It's so clear that she has stolen S. Sandra has her bag on her knees and is cradling it as though protecting it from something. I look up whether an earthquake had just in case, but as expected, nothing comes up.
Sandra, what were you really doing?
Excuse me?
You were opening the cupboard when was at home. I just looked it up and there was earthquake.
She looks distressed.
That can't be true. It was shaking.
If there's an earthquake, it would come up on the internet, you know. At the time you say you were holding dishes to stop them from falling, nothing came up. You didn't take any of the dishes.
With that, she looked even more distraught.
What are you saying? Are you accusing me of something? You want to say that I am a thief?
We'll see if I am wrongly accusing you, or if you really are a thief. Once we have checked your belongings, we will provide you with a receipt. Can you please show me the inside of the bag that you're holding so tight?
Sandra looks around nervously, not knowing what to do.
Why do I have to do something that...
There shouldn't be any problem if you take anything.
Yes. Well, is there anything else you would like to know?
And at this timing, my husband come.
I'm home.
Hearing his voice, Sandra looks real.
Oh, George, you're back?
Mom, you're here.
George, I want to ask you a favor. Could you lend me this plate?
Unbelievable. She picked up a plate from her bag. The plate is clearly mine. It's an expensive one, which was a present from my aunt.
You did put a plate in your bag?
For a moment, Sandra jumped at my words. What do you mean? She asked.
What are you talking about?
I told you I want you to lend it to...
Clearly, she is lying. I know that she never said this to me. But as George is always on her side, he believes her rather than me.
Karen, why are you lying? Mom said she just wanted to borrow it, but are you saying she took it? Don't treat her as if she's a thief. And if she's asking me, if she can borrow it, she will. Does that mean you refuse to lend her?
Seeing that George is on her side, Sandra starts gaining back her strength.
That's right. I knew it was Karen asked her, but she wouldn't allow it.
Karen, I didn't think you were the person that didn't honor my family. Anyway, we're lending this plate to. Okay?
Wait a second. You know that this is my favorite.
Even so, Mom wants to use it.
Even if we say we're going to lend it, it's going to end up belonging to her.
I could not stand back.
I don't care what you say. I'm not your mother, this plate.
Stop fooling around. Do as I say.
Can you please stop giving everything to Sandra and Alice?
Shut up. What's wrong with caring family?
This isn't caring. You're just giving my stuff away to...
With this, George doesn't seem to respond.
Anyway, I'm taking this plate back.
No, wait.
And, Sandra, why do you have the keys to this apartment? I don't remember giving them to you.
I did.
He says it in a matter-of-fact way.
Mom is family, so she should be allowed to go into that room, right?
No way. This apartment is our home as husband and wife. Thanks to you giving the keys to her, she tries to steal my stuff.
Like I said, Mom didn't steal anything. If you're going to treat her this, I have my own thoughts as to what I do, you know.
Your own thoughts?
With this, George starts to pack his belongings.
What are you doing?
I'm packing my stuff. I'm going to stay with my mom for a while. You stay here on your own and cool.
I don't know what to say. Does he think I'm going to be shocked by this behavior? If George is going back to his pair house, that means Sandra and Alice won't be here. I try hard not to show that I am happy. Edit. I'm not sure if I can do that. You, okay? You'll let me know if you change your mind. George and Sandra look triumphant as leave the house. Yes, I'm thrilled to be on my own. After that, I am able to let my hail. Just the thought that neither Sandra or Alice will come here makes me feel so much better. And George, who always takes their not here either. I realize that I have come to dislike my husband more than I had realized. I didn't know I would feel so much just by being away from him. This is when I think it may be better to leave him. About 2 days after George left for his parents' house, I received a bonus from my company, as no one is around to bother me anymore. I feel like I want to buy myself I go to a store of a luxury brand and buy myself a bag that I wanted while I am so happy. I feel like I can fly. I'm going to take this bag with me, my friends, soon. I am excited to use it. However, when I reach the apartment, Sandra there.
Sandra, what are you doing?
Karen, I thought you would be at W.
I have a day off today. Wait, did you think that I was at WC because it's a weekday? And think you could steal something?
Of course not. I just came to make sure you're not up to something.
What? What do you mean?
To ensure that you are not bringing in any unwanted pests, it is essential to take some precautions before entering your home. While George is away,
Besides, you said you thought I was... Didn't you expect to see me?
well, what I mean is, anyway, don't do anything stupid.
With this, Sandra rushes away. I get nervous and check inside the... It doesn't seem like she has taken anything. But it's a shame I wasn't able to take keys that she has. George always gets in the way, so I am unable to take them back. I am also worried that Sandra may have. The shopping bag that I was holding had a brand logo on it. What should I do? I can't stand it if she steals this. Even if I wanted to keep it at my pa house, they're so far away that I would take a plane. As for rental storage, I feel like get all dirty, so I don't want to do. So I decide to buy myself a safe. I buy one and have it set in my house straight away. I put the bag inside the safe and keep it in the depth of the closet. This should work. There is a reason why I have to get so quickly. The day after tomorrow, I am leaving business trip for 2 nights. If Sandra comes to this house while away, she may steal again. I decide to keep all my precious items safe and head off for the business trip. I am feeling anxious. I collapse onto the floor. How was it opened? There's no trace of a burglar coming, which means they went straight for the heart of the matter. After recovering from the initial shock, I am filled with anger.
You opened the safe, didn't you?
George doesn't even seem to be sorry, responds.
Why do you have a safe? Don't treat us like thieves. We're taking your expensive bag and other things too.
What are you doing? Stealing, you know.
The drive there is very quick.
Give me back my bag and everything else that you took.
I stomp into the living room. Sandra, George, and Alice stared in shock.
What? What are you doing here?
You can't just burst into our house.
You really have no common sense. I'm so ashamed that someone like you, sister-in-law.
That I ever had to consider myself people like you.
With this, Alice glares at me.
Give me back my bag. How much do you think it cost me?
Even though I am in a rage, neither George nor Sandra seemed stirred.
Like I told you, you did something that betrayed us. This is your punishment. And Mom wanted that bag to begin with. So I brought it here and gave it to...
George is very calm as he says this.
Don't you feel at all sorry for giving away my belongings to your mother?
Of course not. It's all for Mom.
I'm so happy that everything is going according to plan that I start laughing.
What are you?
Did you hear that? He confessed he stole from me Inkle bag.
George, Sandra, and Alice don't seem to understand what is happening.
Who are you talking to?
He looks behind me. There, he sees a line of people entering the living room from the entrance. Seeing them, Sandra is turning a pie of blue.
You were lying. I thought something seemed fishy. You were suddenly boasting about all expensive things. I can't believe you forced your son or daughter-in-law's things and make them your own, though.
No, I don't think so.
Sandra is trying to come up with a plan, but it's too late. George already confessed everything.
Why, Karen, you've got to be kidding. You really think you'll get away with this?
How terrible. Just because you're tight spot, you're threatening your wife?
The people I brought here are not the same as those who were here before. Sandra has been friends with the neighbor for quite some time, and I knew that she was boasting about them. That is why I thought I would tell truth and ask them to help punish my mother. After being told off by a neighbor, George has become quiet.
How do you think it's fair that you over so many people to blame us?
Alice stands up. However, she is no match for the nefarious forces that threaten her world.
What about you? The three of you got together and attacked Karen, didn't you? And I hear you got a divorce and your parents' house, but that you're not even working. At that age? Really? Because you have such a rotten life personality.
It seems Alice wasn't expecting this response. She turns red and rushes up the stairs.
Now, please, can you return me my son?
I stand before George and demand that he return the items from my bag. It seems he has given up, and he's left me with just my backpack and all my other precious items.
Thank you. Okay then, now I'm going to return apartment to you.
Huh?
I hand him the divorce papers.
What? No, not a divorce, but a separation.
You really think that I wouldn't do it? You're so optimistic, aren't you? You care too much about your mom and that you put their needs before your own. Even when they go too far, you forgive them. I don't want to be with someone like longer. I'm prepared to fight you at a court. If that happens, what your mother did could be considered a crime, you know.
I'm not actually willing to take that far, but I say this anyway. It seems to have worked, and Sandra,
Please don't take it to court.
and she urged George to agree to the neighbors see Sandra like this say,
Well, you've already committed a C, you're a fraud.
and they make fun of her. George can do nothing but listen to Mother, and he signs the divorce papers. And he agrees to having no division property, which means that all my savings belong to me. It seems George had been spending for his mother and sister, that he realizes that there is no more money in his account. I hear that he is devastated. As for Sandra and Alice, there's what the neighbors will say, that they cannot walk the streets with any sense of embarrassment. It looks like they're always staying home now. Serves them right. They got what they deserve. I have rented a room for myself, and am I enjoying my single life? I use the bag I bought on various ones, and it makes me feel good every time I do it. I hope to spend a happy life surrounded by the things that I truly love. It's unbelievable that George took wife's stuff and gave them to his mother and sister, thinking that that sort of behavior completely normal. Is Karen away and even going into her room to steal? That's completely the act of a thief. He should be grateful that she didn't call the police. I hope Karen takes good care of her bag and enjoys her single life. Thanks for sticking around until the... Please subscribe to our channel if enjoyed this video. Thanks for your help. I'll be sure to check out the next one.